There's something bugging you, isn't there? Something that you do not hit the driver as far as you should. Inside you, bugging you, knowing that you should be hitting the driver at least 10, 20, maybe even more yards, especially with your effort that you're putting into it. I'm going to show you quick fixes to hit better drives, and it's got very little to do with technique. If we have a swing that early extends a little bit or tries to hit it a bit too hard, and we've raised this handle up, okay, through impact, and usually that's a consequence of some other things, getting a bit sort of stuck on the downswing, coming over the top here, trying to compensate that way. But instead of trying to fix several other things that potentially might be the cause of sort of early extending and standing up, it's a real distance killer, because the most optimal way to hit a driver is not with the club being dead flat. It's not with it being sort of heel off the ground where too many of you are. It's actually designed for the toe to be a little bit higher through impact, okay? Through that impact area, we want that toe to be a little bit higher. Why? Because that's how the club is made, and that's how tour players and long hitters are delivering the driver with the toe a little bit higher up, not like this. More speed. It's going to help you hit the center of the club face more often, but help your swing path, especially the release through, because we're not fighting ourselves. Without a club, I want you to get your thumbs. Yay! We're going to take our setup. Observe where your thumbs are pointing. We're kind of replicating a grip, if you will, but the thumbs are kind of pointing a little bit further up. I make my backswing, thumbs pointing up. I don't want my thumbs pointing down through the ball here. I want you to have a sensation that as you swing through, your thumbs are actually pointing up through impact and on the through swing as well. That's going to help us sort of draw pattern a little bit and help that swing move all the way round. But it's going to help that driver be used as it was designed, to glide through. It's the most aerodynamic way rather than here. Okay, so with that sensation, a few practice swings of thumbs up. Let's just do a couple of little half swings, feeling like those toe of the club is staying up. Tommy Fleetwood does this very well, and you see him practice swinging like here. It's almost like the hands are lower, those thumbs are pointing up. I'm not trying to do this, but it's a feeling of a little bit more hinge this way through impact, keeping those thumbs up. And what you'll find is it gives you a nice shallow angle of attack, because if we're throwing those hands down, that club gets steeper. Because the driver is so long and our swing is the fastest, we've got to sort of control, battle, whatever you want to call it, this driver as it's being pulled through. We want to try and maintain it on its path. We don't want it to be pulling us along. So the feeling of the thumbs up through impact is going to give you much more shallow and solid strikes. And I just want you to test it out with some little shots to begin with, and notice how much more consistency. Using the legs can get a little bit complicated, because there's a lot of things that are sort of happening with pressure shifting, using the ankles, the knees, opening up the hips, pushing into the ground, the transfer. There's a lot going on there. So we need to find something that I know you can do, because doing something, even if I do a half sort of swing, let's say, I'm going to show you two different swings here, and there's going to be a noticeable difference, but the only difference is going to add quite a few yards. I'm trying to replicate slightly slower swing speeds here to show how much boost you can give it. Now that only went just a little under 200 yards or something, right? Nothing spectacular, was not a fast swing, but it was very much upper body dominant. Pretty passive with the lower body, trying to just make contact and get those hands through relatively quickly. Now if I do the same again, but what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to feel, not spinning the hips, I'm going to feel that I'm actually just pushing my feet down this way, that way. I'm just feeling like I'm pushing my knees, if you will, into the ground here, that way. Kind of like trampolining myself down and through. And that feeling starts to happen as we make our downswing. I'm going to feel like I'm pushing from the ground. I'm not really thinking about how my arms are moving. The only thing I want you to think about is the knees, the legs pushing that way. It's like a diagonal push into the ground here, okay? That way, this way. and I'm finishing a little bit taller, the belt buckle aiming towards the target, and those legs a little bit straighter. It's almost like a jump, all right? I'm not expecting you to sort of catapult up like this, but it's definitely a feeling of jumping, a little sort of push and jump, because the legs, no matter how old you are, they're still going to probably be one of the strongest weapons you have in your body. So even on a little dinky swing, if I get these legs into it with a little sort of push, you can see that extra little whip through the ball. And man, that was a good strike. I increased my swing speed, but the yardage went up 35 yards like that. And I didn't do anything different. The only thing I did was push with my leg, feeling like I'm using my quads, using my knees. As I start my downswing, remember I've lowered my hands, I've lowered the downswing, then I push through. And that is going to give me the consistent power. And that's the key, consistency, because I'm not trying to manipulate the club through the ball. I'm not trying to open up the hips, anything particular. Nothing complicated going on. It's a push and a finish. Feeling like I'm pushing the legs. It's a boost. It's a boost thruster, and it's using your most powerful source, your legs, your lower body. It's unbelievably simple, but try it. I want you to just grab a golf ball, okay? Go and grab one out of your bag right now, because this is going to help. Take your setup, and I want you to just not think about one piece, two piece, anything piece. I want you to just take this ball in your right hand, and I want you to move it to the halfway position, okay? Just sort of think, replicate a golf swing somewhat, but I'm moving it to the halfway position. And I want you to notice a couple of things here when you're doing it for yourself. Did you have tension? Did you try and put your hands in a very specific spot? Or did you just allow it to move relatively freely? I would wager you did. And also, the arm is going to have a little bit of hinge in it, okay? We're not rigid, we're not dead straight, and this is what tends to happen. We're allowing a bit of a suppleness. It's a much more of a throw feeling, okay? And once you've got that, just try this as well. Grab your club. I mean, I've got a driver in my hand, it really doesn't matter, but I'm holding my club underhand this way. And what we're going to do is feel like from a starting position here, I'm going to toss it back that way. Just slowly tossing it here, okay? There. The angle is sort of pointing down towards the ball, all right? No, we're not talking about specifics too much, but look at the way everything is folding and moving. It's not being thought about what's happening specifically here, 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 here. My objective is just to try and get it somewhere back this way. And what I want you to notice is, whether you've noticed it yet or not, is there is movement. Just by that task alone, there is movement. I actually start the sequence in my feet, in my legs. I'm applying pressure to start the movement. I'm not here going that way, okay? And then sort of turning. It is a natural movement into the feet, tossing it back here. Feeling that elbow slightly hinge. I'm not locked in, and I'm certainly not straight. It's all about being natural, because that's the best way you're going to find repetition and consistency without having to hit thousands of freaking golf balls and without putting strain on your body. After you've played around with those couple of drills to get the sensation, let's make it into a real swing so you can just go out and play, all right? What I want you to do is just take your right hand only, okay? And we're going to have some movement just to make the club point down this way. I've got the butt of the club pointing towards the ball. My arm, my trail arm has sort of flexed a little bit this way, all right? It's not rigid. And what you'll notice is, yes, this might be a position that I want you to focus on, but I have not for 1 second thought really too much about how I'm getting here. Just that task alone is so much more natural because it's more like throwing. I'm opening a door, all right? It's a wonderful little sensation to feel that there's a door in front of you here. I'm holding it by the doorknob and I'm opening it up. Obviously it's on a bit of an angle, but I'm opening up that door. And I'm doing the same. I'm opening up that door. And then from there, that's where my left hand is going to be. But this is giving you the most fluid, repeatable takeaway you can imagine, all right? As you practice this, just with some right hand only, little half swings there, okay? Place the club on the left hand as well. And now we just try and repeat. So you notice there's a very subtle hold, but it's just a throw back this way. And we're not worrying about what's the club face doing, what's my wrist doing, am I getting width enough? It will happen just by allowing it to flow. So have some practice swings, feeling this hinging here, this nice positive placement, this moment in time, when from here we can just allow the arms to lift a little bit more. But you notice I don't have restriction and strain. I've got plenty of width, but I'm not doing it like this, okay? It's way more natural, way more easy.